Hello and welcome to Amethyst Star Crafting. My name is Jane Allmark and I'm a UK independent Stampin' Up demonstrator. And today we are doing another Christmas card. And this time we're going to be using non-traditional colours, but sort of traditional as well. We're using the Starlit Punch, which punches out 5 stars. I've used it a lot and you know that I really enjoy using it. So we're going to be using some of those. We're also going to be using the sentiment out of The Stars Are Shining, which is Twinkle Twinkle Christmas Star. And it is, if you buy them both together, you get a 10% discount. And yes, they are different names. I had one of my subscribers who turned around and said how frustrating it is that the stamp sets have different names to the punches. But people like to buy, sometimes people like to buy just the stamp set. Some people like to just buy a punch. And when you put them together, you can get them as a bundle. So yes, they are different names. So Stars Are Shining is the stamp set. And we're using the Twinkle Twinkle Christmas Star from it. And the punch is called the Starlit Punch. And that's, as I say, I use that a lot now. So I've done some preparation work. The colours we're using are cinnamon cider. Now, cinnamon at Christmas is synonymous for Christmas. I love the smell of cinnamon in the Christmas cake and the mulled wine, and cinnamon is a lovely thing for Christmas. So I thought this colour would work really well. So I've taken a piece of the cinnamon cider cardstock, and that is going to be our base. And then I thought I would do it in gold and copper for Christmas. So this is paper from the Elegantly Said. It's lovely. It's sort of black and white on one side, but it's got these lovely sort of goldy ones on the other side. However, you could use any gold paper, pattern paper that you've got. You want a certain amount of pattern in it because you don't want it solid. And we're also going to be using some of the brushed metallics. We've got silver, which is new this year, and then we've got the returning golds. So they're metallic, brushed metallic cardstock, and there is copper, gold, and a sort of a lighter gold. So this is the coppery one, because I think copper goes really well with the cinnamon cider. It gives it that sort of rich tone, and when you tone these three in together, you've got these lovely rich tones going on. So that's why I've chosen that. So that's all we're using, and the punch. And then we're just going to cut out. So this is my cinnamon cider card base. So whatever your standard card base is. And then I've taken some, what I call Inchies. I love using Inchies. So what I've done is I've cut a piece of the pattern paper at 1 inch square. And then I've done the matte in the brushed metallics. And that is 1 1/8. So 1/8 of an inch border is all you need. And then we are going to put these in across on here. Now you notice if you put them, hopefully you can see on the camera, if you put them that way round, you get a darker background. If you put them this way round, you get a lighter. That's because the brush metallic picks up the light. So I'm actually going to go with the darker. So move it so that it is, the brushed goes on the, you can see it as you turn it, it automatically goes. So we're going to have 3, don't know whether I cut that one completely perfect. Let's make sure that I've got the ones that are on. So 3, 6. So you can turn it round and you can see as you put it down, 3, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. So I've done this out to save a little bit of time. So you want 12, which will then fit onto your cardstock. And if you need to ease the measurements a little bit, you can do. I think this works relatively well. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to stick them on just with some wet glue. Get my wet glue out. And what I need to do is to make sure that I have reasonable distances between each one of them. So I'm going to put my corners down first, because then I can see that I want about that much of a distance. So let's put that down there. And then I'm going to put my just my corners down first. I need to make sure that I've got it so that it's coming through. So if I look at this distance from here, I want to have the same distance one side to the other. Now you can measure this. I'm very much an eyeball. I always turn around, as I've said to you many times, you know, handmade cards are not meant to look like factory made cards. So, you know, you can have a little bit of what I call wiggle room in on there. So, you know, don't stress if you're not completely accurate on things. Okay, so that's the 3 down there. Then I need to make sure that I've got the 3 at the top where I want them. So, and that's the way I find that I can make sure that as long as my top and my bottom is fairly accurate. So we've got a reasonable gap in on there. So let's make sure that we've got the same sort of distance on there. Yes, we have. Then I can do the other end. And as I say, this is the way that I do it so that I can try and get it as accurately as I can. So make sure that we've got that coming in the darker part. So let me make sure that that is, again, you want the same distance in on that border there. And that can come down just a tad. And then we'll put this one in on the center. Make sure that I've got this on the darker rather than the lighter. And it's only because it's brushed you will find that it's got a different sort of hue on there. Okay, right, so we then need to look and see the distance between this one and the distance between that one. I think that's going to be about the right distance on there. So I'm going to do the side pieces first, because once I've got the sides up, I should be able to line it through. Is that light or is that dark? That's dark, so that's going to come in there. So my top and my bottom has got a slightly different size, but my sides are equal from one side to the other, if you see what I mean. And it is just a matter of just spending a few moments to just line it up so that you then have your same, as me, these are attached, the same sides in here. So again, I'm doing my outside, because I find my if I get my outside and my inside needs to be eased a little bit, it's easier to do it that way. Turn it that way round. So this is going to come in like that. You want to try and get the distance between those to be relatively equal. And that one on there. And as I say, if you want to do it, if you want to measure each one, you can do. But I find for me, this is the easiest way of doing it, so that I then have reasonably equidistance between each one. So that's going down on there. And then we just need to put these two in the centre. And as I say, you might find that it's not completely accurate, but whoops, it just needs to go down into your 3, 6, 7, 8, 9, 12 pieces. So we're doing it with 12, which is, let's put that one in on there. I can line that up. Okay, so now that it's done, say turn it over, give it a rub, you can see that you've got, it's relatively straight. There's one here that's just a little bit up, but I don't think it'll matter too much once we've got it all on. So just put your 12 squares down. Then we are going to, we have got three squares, and we've got 3 different types of paper. So we've got the cinnamon cider cardstock, we've got the brushed metallics, we've got the patterned paper, but instead of doing the patterned paper, because if I put a star on top of there, it would disappear. What I've done is I've done these already, again to save some time. I've done 4 of each one of 3 stars. So I've done 4 in the brushed metallics, I've done 4 in the cinnamon cider, and then I've done 4 in some glimmer paper. The glimmer paper is retired, but we do have different ones in, and I'm sure you've got some in your stash somewhere. Easy way to do this, you can see the stars are at the side. So if you just take a strip of paper that's not too deep, and then you can just put it through and you're not wasting anything, and you just do 1 star out of the different design. So it's relatively easy to do it. Now on this bit, I am going to use some dimensionals. So let me just get my dimensionals out, and we want the minis. So I'm just going to get some mini dimensionals out of my box. There we go. And all I'm going to do is to just put 1 on the back of each one of these. So I need to work out my my design as well, because you need to do 1 in one way, because there's 3 of them. You need to have 3, 3, and move the pattern along, if that makes sense. So if I just put, I'm just putting the dimensionals on the back to start off with, because that'll give me the height. Now these are quite easy. These little ones are smaller, but again our minis are quite good. So just make sure that you're popping it slap bang in the center, and then it doesn't sort of poke over the side. But by having the dimensionals on them, it just gives a little bit of extra height in there, and that's what we're looking for. So stick 1 in each of these. I should have done this beforehand, but there's only so much preparation I do, because I don't always, as you know, I don't always know which direction my cards are going to go, and I try and craft live with you, as it were, so that then you can see how things come together and different ideas, and it works for me, and it seems to work for you guys. So I'm continuing on with that formula. I don't like things that are too sort of staid and overly prepared, because when we craft and sit down, we don't always prepare everything. So we can have, I'm just going to lay them down to see how I want them. I'm going to have a gold one, then I'm going to have a star, and then I'm going to have a the cinnamon cider. So we need to, let's take the dimensional off, and we need to make sure that we're putting it with the top to the top, bottom to the bottom, so it's as centralized as we can get it. So that's that one, because that's the largest one, and then the glittery one is going to be in the middle, because then it separates the two together. And again, I'm putting the top of the star at the top and getting that in as near to the center, and then we'll take the third one and do exactly the same, so that what we're doing is we're making sure that the stars are quite uniform. So we want this one with the point at the top so that it comes in nicely. Okay, so then we need to take, this one is going to come second now. So I need to take this one in on here, because we're doing 1, 2, 3. So I'm going to take these and put them down in like that. And then I'm going to have the third one here. So again, making sure it's up at the top. That, and then we can have the last one down at the bottom on here. Let's put that one in, so again it's exactly accurate where we want it. And then we've got the star next, so I'm going to do star here, and we'll have this one here. So remembering to make sure that that's up at the top and in the center. And we'll put our star down in on here. So as long as you rotate them so you haven't got the same two showing through, it will then look quite good. So we then have to have our star in on here, which will come in on this side. So that's got to come in. Again, make sure that I've got it straight. And then we'll have our little one in on here, like that. Then we want this one coming down in on the corner here, like that. And then we'll have this one, the last little star, in on here. Okay, so we've now got all of our sort of embellishments and things on there. Now we need a sentiment, and what I've done is I've taken the Twinkle Twinkle Christmas Star, and what I've done is I have, this is me if I can get them apart, I've stamped the top part and covered up the bottom part, so masked it so I could get them separated, because I didn't want them together. I actually wanted them to come halfway down on each one. And again, I'm going to put dimensionals on because I want that little bit of height to come through. So we'll put one in the middle of each one, and we'll have one either end. Oh, there's somebody obviously walking down the road. My little dog's making noises. She seems to, it's quite funny, she seems to wait for me to come onto camera, and then she'll go, I'm fed up and bored now. Come and play with me, come and do something with me. Because she'll either be barking to come in from the garden, barking because there's another dog up the road, or just barking for attention. So that's unfortunately the joys of having pets, that they always like to join in. Okay, so this is going to come in on the center of these like that. So that's the twinkle twinkle, and then we'll put the Christmas star, and that can go in on the center down on here. Now I have used the retard punch to get those, but you know, just cut them out if you want to. And I haven't matted it because you don't want anything extra on there. And then I've just got a standard card base because I've done the words in white but on cinnamon cider. So I've used the cinnamon cider ink to stamp the words, but I'm putting it onto a white background because I didn't want to put the words onto cinnamon cider because I think it just made it look too much. So I'm just going to put this straight onto the card base like that. And then you've got a really rather lovely twinkle twinkle Christmas star, but with these lovely cinnamon Christmassy warm colours. So I hope you enjoyed that. As always, please stay safe and well. Please be kind, and look forward to seeing you again soon. Bye bye.